welcome.
Welcome.
And my name is Simone Bernateau.
I'm Samantha Green.
I'm Brittany Miller.
I'm Raina Wright.
And I'm Lucas Polanese.
Yay!
Pleasure to see everyone.
So for the first topic, y'all, we have cultural competency. And actually, I was scrolling and I saw this video. And basically, it was this man who was being treated horribly in the hospital, and it went viral because there were so many issues that he dealt with in his facility. So, have any of y'all seen that video?
Yeah, I seen the video.
I think I saw that video as well.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Yeah, and there was like language barriers he was dealing with, but I don't remember which language it was. Y'all remember which one?
I think it was Creole.
Yeah, I believe it was Haitian Creole.
Yeah.
Wow.
So basically, it was like there was so many other issues that could happen because of that. It was like improper care, or even proper care that could happen, and like it was access to healthcare, and it was so horrible for him. So
I can only imagine how that is, not being able to communicate with your doctor because the language barrier that you have with your patient.
Yeah,
exactly.
exactly. And I can have a connection with that too, because I'm actually a Haitian background. And like every time I go to, I speak Creole. You feel me? So every time I'm in the hospital with my parents and stuff, we go there, I be with them too, and sometimes they can't communicate with the doctors and the health professionals like they need to. So I'm always there to like help communicate and like translate and everything too.
That's
So,
good. That's
yeah.
good. Because I can figure out how frustrating it is, not only for the patient, but for the doctor as well. Because we try to provide quality care, and if I can't understand you, it's like.
Yeah, you can't do that.
And like we don't even know that we come across that every day for Spanish people that's in America that like they don't know no English.
Yeah.
Like they deal with that every day. Just
Yes.
imagine dealing with that every day, like every day.
Exactly.
It can be really frustrating at times.
Yeah.
So y'all, we'll go right back into it after this quick commercial break. Welcome back, everyone.
All right, we're returning to you live from Famu Everyday Health. That video that you just saw was sponsored by Healthy Hearts. Okay, when it comes to many barriers in healthcare, it's not only about language. We also have vision barriers, and we also have hearing barriers as well. Can anyone relate to that? Have you had any issues with hearing?
I haven't personally, but like, what would y'all do if like your family member, your friends, like went to the hospital, had a hearing disability or like a speech impediment, and they had the wrong treatment?
Like generally, that's why I think everyone, like let's say for instance, a hearing, sign language, being deaf. I think everyone should try to at least learn because you never know who you're gonna run into that may be deaf. And if you know a little bit of sign language, you can get far. You can get far.
Or you just have to keep pen and paper with you at all times.
And they read lips very well. So vision, it pretty much everything tied in together. Like all of that tied in together.
It does.
Exactly.
It does.
So like that leads into our next hot topic, which is of health disparities. That's just basically what the minorities face each and every day of their life. So what's y'all intake on that? Like, what do y'all think about that?
I think it goes back to like past family, older generations. You know, a lot of African Americans don't really go to the doctor, or they really don't have a lot of education about certain diseases until it's too late, and we end up losing a lot of family members, especially with diabetes, heart disease, you know, all type of stuff like that. You know, it's hard, but we
It's
can't
always
be
been-
scared
that's
to go.
African Americans are targeted. Like we face a
Mhm.
lot of different things.
We really do.
And all these conditions are something like that can be easily treated. You feel me? It's nothing like it's so like drastic that they can't treat it or they'll have no cure for it. These are like simple treatments that like white communities and like different communities like find and go to the hospital for, but it's something that we don't.
Exactly, like,
Unfortunately.
And it also
And
could
not-
be lack of education too, lack
Yeah,
of knowledge.
exactly.
People don't really
Mhm.
know
Yeah,
the
that's what I was
symptoms and
gonna say.
diagnosis and what to look for. So oftentimes they misinterpret things or misdiagnose themselves because they don't really know or understand the symptoms to look for.
That's
Do you guys agree with that?
That's
Yeah,
true.
I agree.
Yes, I agree.
Definitely.
So that pretty much ties into, nice hit, Mr. Lubitz. The Iron Triangle. So the Iron Triangle is pretty much everything is dealing with health. That's everything dealing with healthcare, which ties into cost, quality, and access. So what do y'all think about healthcare? With it being high, the cost being high, people not being able to have transportation, different things of that nature.
Yes.
What's y'all opinion on about that, about healthcare and the Iron Triangle?
Wow.
I really think that like when you enter the hospital or you have to go to the emergency room, those costs are incredible, and especially people who are in different incomes, different minorities. Like it's very difficult for them to get that care that they would need.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yes,
It
it
is.
is. It really is.
And America having the like #1 most spending healthcare. Like we spend the most out of every country,
Yes.
even though we're not even the top. So I think that like influences the Iron Triangle, like you said. I think we need to do better on that.
Of course.
So y'all think this president that's in the chair making it any better? What y'all think about it?
Another story, but with him with the insurance and everything, it's like everything is so crazy. Like under Obamacare, if you had pre-existing conditions, you could not be denied coverage. Now that we're under Trump care, you can be denied coverage. With your age, they are trying to charge 5 times higher for older people for insurance premiums than younger people. Like it's crazy. Like
So what is really counts as a pre-existing condition under Trump care?
like asthma, and it's crazy. My brother had asthma as a kid growing up. Diabetes, heart disease, and HIV/AIDS. And it sucks that they would be denied coverage, just because they have this disease. It's not their fault. Anything can happen, but for them not to be able to have access to quality care or certain facilities that's just sad.
It is sad.
And speaking of AIDS, I know of a couple that's actually living with AIDS to this day. They've had AIDS probably for over 30 years.
Oh wow.
And it's sad because being that Trump is coming into the chair and he's changing all these different things that Obama has already had set in place, it's not fair to other people that been living with this for so long. Now you mean to tell me I go to get care and I can't get seen because I have this pre-existing, because that's not fair. And it's sad being that it's families that will suffer because they can't get treatment because of this
It's
new law.
expensive.
Exactly. Not every family is fortunate to afford whatever they're gonna need to take care of their condition.
True.
That's true, and especially like with diabetes, I have a professor that has it. Thank God that he does have good insurance, because he tells us his vials are like $3,000 just for insulin. You know what I'm saying? So that's
Yeah.
like crazy.
The
Like
expenses are
everybody
crazy.
can afford that, like just on a regular pay salary. So you would need that insurance and that coverage to cover that. Instead of having to pay out of pocket.
Right.
And that's so crazy. The same prescription that you can get here, you can go to Canada and get for way cheaper than what you
Way
pay
cheaper.
here.
Yeah.
You pay $3,000 here, you get it over there for maybe $30.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show what the American people,
Yeah.
you know,
What we
do
gonna
for one
face
another.
Like costs are just crazy, and
Yeah,
that
it's all
ties
about the
into
money.
like mental health. Like that's very popular. Like not very popular, but it's become a very like serious condition. It's very common these days,
Yeah.
and like the cost for that can get crazy.
Yeah.
Like people suffering from suicidal thoughts, depression, like not even going to psychiatrists, but getting different medications. Like that can be crazy, especially.
And that ties into the African American family as well.
Right.
Because a lot of us are like our grandparents, they didn't believe in going to the doctor or anything
Right.
like that,
That's
especially
so
with a
true.
mental disorder. They just thought something was wrong with them. You didn't mess with that child because they were considered just crazy, and they just stayed in the back room,
Right.
And like it's just lack of education and not knowing, and it just sucks.
And it's not getting easier, it's getting harder. So it's like we gotta
Yeah. The more it's
stick
addressed, the
together.
better.
Yeah.
Change.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Should do something about it. Wow, that was really,
Yeah, very
really
heavy
deep
topic.
topic.
Yes, it
So-
was.
Ooh, touching.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I want to thank everybody for viewing. We have a few closing remarks and information from my colleague, Raina.
So, audience, if you have any more questions, visit Neighborhood Medical Center. The services provided are primary care, women's health, pediatrics, mental health care, dental care, and eye care. There's many more. So if any more questions, definitely visit them. The phone number is 850-558-0611.
Thank
Thank-
you.
Thank
you. And thank you all for tuning in to FAMU Everyday Help TV. We look forward to seeing you next week at 5 p.m. on Thursday.